Last name ever, first name greatest. Like a sprained ankle, boy, ain't nothing to play with. Started off no good, but thanks to all the haters, I know G4 pilots on a first name basis. In your city, faded off the ground. Nino, she insists she got more class. Reno, swimming in the money, come and find me. Nemo, if I was at the club, you know I balled. Chemo, dropped a mixtape, that shit sounded like an album. Who'da thought a countrywide tour be the outcome? Labels want my name beside an X like Malcolm. Everybody got a deal, I did it without one. Yeah, bitches, I'm about my business. Killing all these rappers, you would swear I had a hit list. Everyone who doubted me is asking for forgiveness. If you ain't been a part of it, at least you got to witness.
They go so ballistic, whoa. He can make them look like poses. He's wondering if he should speak this slow. Fuck no, go for broke. His cup just wanna throw me, oh no. He ain't had him a boss like this since the last time that he overdosed. They've been waiting patiently for Pinocchio to poke his nose. Back into the game and they know rap will never be the same as before. Passion in the brains of these hoes and establishing the name as he goes. The passion and the flame is ignited. You can't put it out once we light it. This shit is exactly what the fuck that I'm talking about when we riot. You dealing with a few true villains who stand inside of the booth, who's feeling his true feelings. It's not two feelings combined about my mouth, never rewind it. Payback, motherfucker, for the way that you doubted me. How's it taste? Slap the taste out of your mouth with the bass so loud that it shakes the place. I'm Hannibal Lecter, soldiers that make shit think in a saving face. You ain't gonna have no face to say by the time I'm through with this place. So great.
I mean nothing to y'all, but the mistake was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this shit forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. Shit, shit down in the mall. It's on there, girl, she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. And I ain't even planning the call. Just done
Hello and welcome everybody to another fantastic evening here at the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. This evening we're going to have a great game for you guys tonight. It's going to be Team Serendipity versus Magna Ignis. For your casting entertainment, I'm going to be Sir Waltham, and sitting at the table with me today, a little bit of a new name here. It's going to be Steidl. Steidl, how you doing today? Well, it seems like there's a little bit of a mic issue coming through from Steidl's end, so we will just be waiting on that to get fixed up. However, in the meantime, we do have the piece de resistance before every game starts. We're going to have a little pre-game interview going on here, and we are going to be having Corey Bakusuda here, or Corey Bakusuda, excuse me. I got it right the first time, I didn't get it right the second time here for Team Serendipity. Corey, how are you feeling today?
Doing pretty good.
Fantastic. Now, you want to go ahead and go over your role within Serendipity?
I am the team captain for Serendipity eSports and projectile DPS player.
Fantastic. Do you have a particularly preferred character you like playing on that projectile?
Hanzo would probably be my main since I've hit top 500 consistently. Well, not really, but yeah, I'd say Hanzo's pretty much my favorite hero. Not because he one-shots and he's broken, because he's actually a really fun hero.
Well, hey, as long as they got rid of his scatter arrow, I can't hate on anybody anymore for playing Hanzo. But with that being said, you and I were talking a little bit before we actually got started rolling with this production, and you had mentioned that you were kind of also fitting into the spot of like a team. I want to say emotional leader, the team hype man, I think was the words you used.
Yes. When we're on a roll or we're goofing around, you know, I always say like stop goofing around. That's it. No more. Stop. Or if we're like doing extremely well, I start like screaming. Well, not screaming, but like I start getting louder and I say, "Come on, we actually got this." Like no offense, but like I sometimes say like, "Oh, these guys are boosted. Come on, we can actually win this. Come on." Like a little short story is that we were down 2-0 on OD, and then like as soon as we won Hanamura, we were like, "Guys, we actually can win this. Come on, these guys are boosted. Come on!" And we just reverse swept them, and then we were like, "Dude, we got this. This is easy." So yeah, I am the hype man in the team.
Hey, sometimes that's what it takes. It can be just as much a mind game as it is a physical, mechanical game. So definitely hoping we're going to see that come through here tonight. How's your team feeling when we look over moving into the first bracket of the OWB?
I mean, when we first saw the bracket, we were like, we don't know anything about the team, so we were like, let's try and do some research, first, because you always want to be prepared. So
Right.
we did like an hour discussion, like saying, because this is the first time we ever do a tournament with hero bans and stuff like that. So we did like an hour talk and saying, like if the hero ban this, what do we run? If we save this hero, what do we want to ban from them, and so on and so forth. We
Right.
always want to be prepared.
That's good. I like that. A lot of teams kind of come in here without doing their research. I like hearing that you guys kind of have that leg up. But I think we're about ready to get going into the game, so I'm going to go ahead and send you back over to your team. But Corey, thanks for coming in and answering a few questions with us, my man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely no problem. Good luck out there. Now, Steidl, are you back with your? Are you back with us?
I am. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you just fine and perfect.
Alrighty. I feel like I should be interviewing or for auditioning for bot of Verizon. Trying to get these mic issues ready. I'm ready for some massive Overwatch, big diva bombs, big graviton surges. I don't know. Maybe a Torbjorn.
There's always hope. There's always hope. We've seen a lot of funky comps come through, so it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. But we're going to be starting on Lijiang Tower. How do you feel about that map in particular? What do you think we're going to be seeing?
As a Pharah main, I love Lijiang Tower. I think it's a beautiful map, and I think it's well crafted. I definitely think that we're probably going to see something pretty close to a 3-3 when it comes to Control Center as well as Night Market, but hopefully on Gardens we'll see a Pharmacy.
Yeah, I am also a big fan of the Jetpack Queen as it is, but it looks like we're going to be starting on Night Market, so not too much of a chance for that far to come out here right out of the gates. Of course, not a whole lot to go off of with these teams. They are both new participants in the Overwatch Watchers Brawl, as are most of the teams this month. I think there are only one or two maybe standout teams that are from previous tournaments. But for the time being, we are just waiting a few moments while the teams are going to be assembling their heroes. And I honestly have no idea what to expect here.
I'm thinking that we're going to get a Hammond. It's started to get kind of prominent, especially on this kind of map where you have that giant environmental threat on the edges. If you get booped off by a Lucio as Hammond, you can always grapple yourself back to the wall. And swinging in and out of the doorways, if you time it just right, you can knock people off the edges. You get a lot of purchase that way. So either Hammond or Reinhardt, I think, as far as main tanks go.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. And looking at the comps, before the gates open, we're definitely seeing some triple coming through on both sides. The Rein, Zarya, D.Va sitting on both ends. It's going to be the standard triple support loadout. We see the Zen, Lucio, and Brig, also known as GOATs. If you're not familiar, if you haven't heard by now, it's called the GOATs comp.
Well, here come the teams going. Starting off their battle, Serendipity matching pace with Team Magna, making sure that they can get purchase on the point as Magna positions themselves there at the edge of the door, trying to fight away, keep Pone out of position. There goes Corey, getting the first death of the match. And that's kind of difficult. Losing that Brig in the middle of a GOATs fight means you lose a lot of healing and a lot of sustain. There goes the hammer down straight into a shield, however, so it's not going to find anything. But that's not going to stop them from taking another kill and pushing Serendipity back to spawn.
Yeah, it's looking like Serendipity going to realize that they're not quite in the win for this fight. It's going to be taking a quick retreat. Conjure going to be getting the D.Va jump off the cliff action moving forward, just trying to not get staggered out. But a late kill going on to Kanem from this fight. That's going to take a little bit longer for them to kind of get everybody reorganized and restacked. And looking ahead for the next fight, we're seeing the ults a little bit in favor of Magna. It makes sense when you win the fight, you do more damage and you get more ult charge.
Here we go, however, Pone now has a shatter to use. He's gonna go ahead and throw it down. He does find two, so he's got a little bit of purchase there as Zenyatta getting in a little bit of trouble. Frenic getting pressured out by Zeus on that Zarya, holding that Graviton and ready to use it. But still able to push Serendipity back to spawn, and Magna Ignis with a great recovery after that shatter from Pone.
Yeah, it just seemed like Pone really got a fairly decent slam, but there just wasn't a whole lot of follow-through. I believe it was a charge that led into the slam, and by that point, Pone had separated themselves so far away from the rest of the team.
Oh, there goes the Graviton just past the defense matrix. There is the Transcendence to try and help it out, but that can't do the burst damage from that self-destruct from Pyro. Gonna go ahead and take Pone out of the fight once again, and time again, we see Serendipity losing their main tank first in these engagements.
Yeah, and you really do not want to lose that main tank. When you lose the main tank, of course, you don't have that staying power. It makes it so much harder for your team in general to just get that space and even get near point. However, it is starting to look like ults are in favor for Magna Ignis once again, so it's really going to be a challenging push if Serendipity wants to get on the point before the time expires.
It's all up to Ali and Muffin right now. There goes both the support ultimates laid on top of each other, Rally and a sound barrier to keep Magna Ignis alive, allowing Pando to get that shatter in, knocking Frenic to the ground, but he's gonna get kept alive by his tanks, and a counter shatter from Pando, gonna be bringing the pain, as Kane, however, is the one to come out with the kill first. And once again, we are seeing a massive one-sided battle after the ultimates come out, but this time, Serendipity's coming out on top.
Yeah, I like to see that. You always have those moments in Overwatch, or you have them very often anyway, where you hear that timer start to count down. You know you have one good push, and everybody in the team just gives it their all. They regroup. They just give it a 110% effort push. And that's exactly what we saw through coming from Serendipity, and they were able to take point because of it. And they're still not too bad on ults. They have Frenix Transcendence coming up as well.
Yep, Sir Weapon, this is going to be a pretty tight engagement here. Transcendence is going to start things off from Final to allow his team to get into the battle. There goes the Graviton from Zeus to get Serendipity all played up into one place. The self-destruct from Pyro the tank, not going to find any kills, but Pone going to take Pandy out of there, and Kanem also getting everybody in that Graviton. And now Serendipity able to forego the inevitable for now, looking to turn the tables and change the future.
Yeah, and Kanem getting that grab, very beneficial. It helped a lot of the other players on the side of Serendipity. get a lot more ult charge. We're going to be seeing Jmart and Contra both having their ults online for this next fight. Pwn about halfway as well. Painto going to be having the Earth Shatter, but it might be a little hard to play around if Pwn is really staying on their toes.
A lot of weight on that Reinhardt shield right now for this next engagement. And Frenic has just been able to sit in the background here, pelting in these Zenyatta orbs. Building up that Transcendence quite swiftly, and Kanem deciding to take it to the front door as he grabs himself a casual couple, pushing all the way to the spawn. And now it's going to be at least 83-84% before we even see Magna Ignis get back to the point.
Yeah, and they will have a few more ults working forward, but it's still going to be heavily in favor of Serendipity. Serendipity certainly having the bank to work with. It's really going to have to be kind of a desperation push that we saw from Serendipity. Now this time for Magna Ignis, however.
There goes the rally. Panda gonna come in with the shatter, but he's not gonna find anything. Pwn gonna be able to counter that quite easily. Sound Barrier and Transcendence from Serendipity gonna be used in every ult except for Contra and Canem are on the table. Canem gonna go ahead and throw that Graviton Souls out, and Contra with the self-destruct, but the shield is up from Pando. So Magna Ignis is still going to be able to transgress onto the point, but now Pwn and Corey both gonna grab themselves a couple of kills as the members of Magna Ignis fall one by one on the point. Pando and Pyro, the only two remaining on the point. There's the self-destruct from Pyro in the overtime as it ticks down, but the shield is still there. Frenic, however, almost booped off, and the shatter comes in from Pwn. Graviton from Zeus trying to wrap everything up as Magna Ignis hangs on for every fight they can, staggering themselves onto the point. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing this go over to Serendipity once we see that Lucio fall.
Yeah, indeed, and I really would like to talk about Pyro on that D.Va. It was so crucial that Serendipity got the kill when they did, because they killed her on the D.Va with, I believe it was like 2% left to that self-destruct, meaning that when she dropped, she did not have that instant remech, which means that she had to take the fight even longer. That's some incredible value. I don't know if that was just some really good ult tracking from the side of Serendipity or some focus fire, but either way, I really liked what we were seeing there when it came to that fire. And Serendipity doing a really good job to turn it around 0 to 100 and then back to 100 again.
And you know, we did hear about from Serendipity about how they do research, and now look at this. We have both. Nope, well, Ali's gonna switch off, but Kanem is gonna be sticking on the Mei here for what some people like to call Snows.
Yeah, and the Mei composition so powerful here when you have these tight corridors that can just be so easily choked off and sectioned off one of the main tanks, maybe the Reinhardt. Definitely going to be keeping an eye out for that.
If there goes that first Mei wall, not exactly where you want to place it. They were able to kind of get around as they were put underneath the wall instead of behind it, but Kanem going to be able to find Final as the first kill right there. Pwn with a beautiful charge onto the opposing D.Va, not able to de-suit Pyro there, but he is able to get out, but definitely the upper hand to Serendipity in this team fight. Nobody has taken control of the point, but Serendipity definitely has control of the fight.
Yeah, and in this sense, it makes a lot of sense. This map mode, this game type is very much considered a team deathmatch style mode where you want to worry about getting the kills first, then focus on taking the point. And that's exactly what we saw Serendipity do. And they're looking very strong this time around in comparison to Magna. Magna looking a little bit more meager. Big slams.
Pwn with a beautiful jumping surprise shatter, but he can't jump that far. Ali's gonna put you off the edge. Serendipity, however, Corey saving the day with the rally on the break, pushing everybody back to spawn, targeting the Zenyatta, taking care of Final. Does get stunned, however, from the opposing Brig, but Frenic and the rest of the team are there to help him out.
Yeah, it is, despite Pwn going to be dropping because of that whip shot from Ali, you're going to be managing to re-stabilize on the side of Serendipity. That is crucial. That was probably one of the better chances that Magna had to retake control of this very tight choke, especially considering they're still running the Mei on the side of Serendipity.
So hard to get past that wall. Ooh, Final getting a little dangerous here on the side. Has to use the Transcendence to save himself. There goes the Graviton to pair it out. The Transcendence, however, it's going to lose itself right after the grab. So we're going to see Pyro the Tank getting the Hungry Hippo, eating Kanem's Blizzard. But Kanem's still able to grab the kill. Counter grab from Zeus, going to pop out. There's the Transcendence from Fremic layered on with the Sound Barrier from Jmart. And right now, Serendipity definitely has the upper hand as all of their members are full health and able to break through this choke.
Yeah, right now it's just looking like Magna not too organized when it comes to pushing through that choke too aggressively. We saw earlier Final using that Zenyatta trance from the right-hand corridor coming from their spawn, so perhaps not the most organized coordination, because once we saw that Transcendence drop, we saw the grab come out immediately, and that really helped win the fight for Serendipity.
Magna Ignis trying something different this time. They're going to go the top route, but they get immediately walled off by the mace. So the Shatter, although it does land on Corey, the rally was still active. There goes the self-destruct from Pyro. Not going to find any kills as Ali gets put off on her own with Zeus as they try to fight to the point. Overtime does get triggered by Muffin on the Lucio. Everybody else tracking back to the point as Ali and Pyro grab a couple of kills. Kanem going to try and even the scales here. Finally, the fight making its way to the point as Kanem finds Muffin, Zeus finds Contra, and Pyro the Technic's getting frozen on top of the point by Kanem, but Kanem gets saved, or killed, I'm sorry, by Final and Ali. And it looks to me like we're finally going to see Serendipity lose the point in this situation, and a bit of a flip-flop from last point.
Yeah, this is hilarious. We are seeing these teams consistently go 99 to 99. At least it's looking that way for the time being, but it's also looking like Pwn getting the very sneaky Shatter.
Beautiful sneaky Shatter. Now, granted, there was the save from Final on that Zenyatta with the Transcendence, but there goes the grab from Contra along with the Shatter from Paino, but Paino gets frozen in the middle of his Shatter, so he doesn't get it off. He does grab a couple of kills. Right now, Serendipity back with the upper hand, and at 25%, we're going to see it switch back over to Serendipity.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the kind of emergency quick swaps coming out from the side of Magna. Not going to matter, though. Not going to quite be enough.
So Serendipity a little bit slow to warm up, but once they got those engines going.
Yeah, they definitely seemed to be burning a little bit hot on some of these maps. Definitely showing some very strong dominance, as you said, once they got warmed up. And for those of you at home, definitely don't forget, it's only been our first game, but we still have a few more to go. But if you see anybody you like, you think you might want to show them some support, definitely don't forget to vote down in the Twitch MVP extension down in the Twitch chat. Definitely show us who you're thinking deserves some love. You know, I always talk about it. Us casters don't see everything perfectly sometimes. You can tell us we're wrong. This is the one time, chat. This is the one time you can tell us we're wrong.
I may not believe you, but you can tell me.
you are certainly entitled to your voice. That is that's a thing you can do. But moving forward, with Serendipity having won that map, it will now be on them to be banning the next one. And I'm honestly kind of surprised how much 3-3 we saw these teams roll out with, just because or 3-3 variant, because it's just seemed so non 3-3 lately, at least in the tournament. Do you think we're going to continue to see that?
You know, I don't think we will, although 3-3 is still quite prominent within competitive play. If you pay attention to like collegiate play or a lot of the open division and contenders teams, you are starting to see like the triple DPS compositions come out, or you know, the more traditional 2-2 kind of starting to make a rise back into the ranks. But I think we're definitely going to start seeing some DPS metas, especially when it comes to the assault maps, because that's where you're really going to want a lot of burst damage.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense when you're definitely having to push through that kind of that choky area, I guess, if that makes sense. But moving forward, it looks like Serendipity going to be banning the map of Oasis, meaning that we are now out 2 of our 3 control point map types. We just played Lijiang, and now Oasis is out of the pool, meaning the only one left is going to be Ilios if we're seeing it anytime in the future. But looking forward, Magna Ignis not going to be able to pick it for the time being. We're going to be seeing what they do end up going with. Do you think there's a good call for Magna here based on what they saw Serendipity run last time?
I would not be surprised to see them take them to either Junkertown or Dorado. I think they'll take them to an escort map next. That's they were able. One of the things that Serendipity did very well was to gain momentum within these fights and carry that momentum through into the next engagement. And so that's a skill that pairs really well with playing escort or hybrid. But I think escort's where we're going to see them take.
Yeah, that certainly adds up. The math certainly checks out there. And so we talk about the different kind of map comps we have here, and or map types, excuse me. And you know, we look at the maps. We look at the map set. Eichenwald, not necessarily the most 3-3 friendly map. You can certainly run it. I'd say that the back end is definitely a little bit more 3-3 friendly. Hollywood, you have a lot of high ground in Hollywood that the divier characters kind of impose a lot of advantage towards. Junkertown and Dorado, however, Junkertown, you always hear about the pirate ship style comp, so definitely an avenue we could explore there. Dorado, it's a mixed bag as well, but I guess I should talk about what we actually are going to be running into, and that's going to be
Anubis. One of my favorite maps.
Yeah, we have the genuine possibility to see a lot of snipers here, or at least a Widow here, because we see that Widow on the first point defense fairly often if you have a fairly strong level of confidence in that Widow.
Also a good chance of an Ana. I love Temple of Anubis Ana play, because similar to the reason why it's so fun to run a Widow on defense or attack, is you have all these great sight lines, and Anas can utilize that really well.
Yeah, we're going to have to be keeping an eye on the support players, seeing how much fat healing they'll be able to get out and distributed through this game because of that Ana positioning. But I honestly think this is the first time I've seen Temple of Anubis in the Watcher's Brawl in a long time. And I'm excited. This is the first CP map, or the first assault map, excuse me, that hasn't been Hanamura, and that tickles me. I love that. I love that.
Hanamura lasts forever.
It certainly feels like I always joke that it's either one of those that goes 6 to 7 or something ridiculous like that, or it's like 2-0 or 1-0.
Yeah,
it's very rarely one of those
full hold or 3 rounds.
yeah, exactly.
Looks like we're gonna be getting the Sombra as a banned hero, and Diva's our hero that's safe.
If you'll indulge me a little bit, I'd like to do a little bit of theory crafting. I'm wondering if Magna bans the Sombra because they're planning on running something that is very weak to those flanker characters, something like the Widow and the Ana high ground, as opposed to the more frontal-based comps.
I can see it, and since my hopes were high at the beginning of the cast, I'm going to keep them high. I want to see that Torbjorn. And if you're going to run a Torbjorn, you don't want a Sombra out there. You know, I mean, my smarter brain says that's not why it's there, but my geek brain wants the Torbjorn. But yes, I do think that's a pretty good theory. I also think that if you need to fall back on a Bastion, or if that's something that you plan on doing, you know, Genji's not a very good counter to Bastion at the moment, as he's not countered by, but so many other things oppose his playstyle. And Sombra is very successful at tackling that Bastion composition.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. Also, Sombra very good against Hammonds. We didn't even consider that, at least I didn't consider that moving forward, but it makes a lot of sense. We're going to be seeing Paindo at least lock onto the Hammond initially, but we should probably look at the defense. We should probably look at what's more certain.
Well, there's the Bastion coming out from Serendipity, actually.
Yeah,
and Muffin, I see you teasing me on the Torbjorn.
They must be listening to our cast chat right now. But I'm definitely about this. Frenok on the Baptiste, the classic bunker comp where we get the immortality field. We were talking a little bit earlier about how often is Baptiste used, and we've been seeing him pretty consistently used in this fashion. He's also going to be taking up that high ground that we typically see the Anas on. Interesting.
I've never seen the Bastion take this approach to healing. I also haven't, not Bastion, the Baptiste. I also don't have a lot of experience with the Baptiste in play, but it's an interesting place to take. He's still able to utilize the sight lines in a similar way.
Very much so. It's going to be a lot of damage coming through if Kanem and Pone are able to coordinate their grabs and well, angle of attack.
Yeah, Magna Ignis, they're relying a lot right now on Paindo to push back that Bastion composition, and they do go ahead and retreat back to the point. Kanem making sure that he is safe, using the buildings for cover so he doesn't have to solely rely on that Orisa shield. A lot of damage, however, coming in from Magna Ignis, and they're going to grab the first kill. Ali taking the kill onto Corey, coming right back in with that Mercy res.
Yeah, and this is kind of where the Junkrat gets very dangerous, as we can just see piling out that damage.
Yep, Corey gonna be able to take out Zeus, and now Ali with a lot of free reign up in the skies here on this fair. Not a lot to counter her in the skies. Able to rain down a lot of damage. Here comes the barrage. Gonna be able to take one, gonna be able to two. Looking for the Orisa. Not able to find the Orisa due to the invincibility zone coming out from Baptista. But it's just a matter of time until the rest of the members of Serendipity get taken out. Corey with a beautiful kill, but gets slept by Final. Oh, Junkrat, gotta wake up, buddy.
Yeah, that is definitely a painful one to see. And another painful consideration here is Serendipity put a lot into that defense, and now they're going to have to switch around their entire roster. That means their ult banks are going to be dead empty, dry as a bone. Meanwhile, Zeus, Muffin, Pyro, all going to be very close or having their ults for next fight, as well Final and Paindo very close indeed.
You see Pyro and the rest of the gang just kind of tinkering around the chokes, looking for a little bit of splash damage to build up those ultimates. There's Pyro. She's working up that tack visor. Once that's available, it's gonna be pretty awesome. There's no diva to eat that, as well as the barrage from Ali. She's gonna go ahead and concussion blast in a little bit. Not gonna fully commit, but there goes the dragons from Zeus to initiate. Paindo gonna be taking out Jmar at the beginning of the fight. Now Ali able to locate Frenic and the McCree Canem at the same time, taking them out on the side of the point while Magna Ignis takes the point. And now with the barrage ready at spawn door, I'm not sure we're gonna see many people get out to the point. Oh, Contra.
Yeah, J-Mart so close to getting that touch on the Lucio, not going to quite be able to, however, and that is really the high-risk, high-reward playstyle you sometimes run with the bunker comp. If they can get a foothold and survive, you know, a really hardy first push, then the ults start building in their favor, things start going really their way, but if they lose, they have to give up all of that ult economy built up in the first point, and there's a high potential that they can get rolled on that second point. I think it's definitely something that perhaps should have been considered a little bit more carefully on the side of Serendipity, but you know, hindsight's 2020, and they're definitely going to have their turn to attack. Hopefully, you're going to show us just how well they can, you know, capture those 2 points as well.
And you know, when you lose the first point very early on, you know, a lot of times the objective for the second point then becomes how much time can we shave off? Can we get the full hold? Maybe not, but let's see how much time we can take off the clock. And sadly, because of that full switch, instead of sticking with the bunker comp and trying to, you know, continue that with the ults that they had, you know, they added time to the time bank. So even if they get both, it's still going to be an uphill battle. So let's see if Serendipity is up to the challenge.
Yeah, I think that from what we've seen, Serendipity certainly not out of things yet. They are a very momentum-based team, so if they get a little bit of swing, maybe they will keep carrying that through into the next few rounds if we see multiple. But interesting, now we're going to be seeing Zeus on this Widow. However, it doesn't seem to be positioning on the most high ground that we typically see Widows on.
Oh, cheeky shield placement from the Orisa to allow him to get, ooh, a great headshot on the Pwn. Not able to come away with any of the kills, but definitely able to give him a little bit of a fright there. Really returning to their spot. So the attack bastion coming out from Serendipity, and this can be really difficult to set up on Temple of Anubis because you're going up against a high ground, and by the time you get the bastion in place and the shield down, there's already so much damage that has come out that by the time you're really working into the shield, you can't really do too much. But Final putting himself in the kill feed in a cheeky way, taking out that invincibility for the bastion, making things a little bit easier. There goes the Holt from Paindo, pulling up Serendipity. Canem able to desuit Pyro the tank. And that's a pretty big moment there. Now you've got that diva just freeing around. No defense matrix to help mitigate the damage. Still gonna stay pretty stationary. Now they're starting to get moving.
There we go. Now the rotations are coming through. It might have been a little late though. Pyro the tank almost gonna already be back in mech, not able to capitalize on that.
Ooh, Corey definitely capitalizing on the fact that Ali was still, but she was still able to pick up a couple of kills and stop this attack exactly where it lies. They're gonna have to retreat, go back to spawn, maybe rethink their approach.
Yeah, that was a little bit painful, and in a way, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to use some massive shield break with Bastion. It doesn't look like they're gonna stick with it though. They're gonna go back to the triple, see if that gives them any more benefit. And who knows? The Bastion took a while, certainly, on the last pushes, and I can understand wanting to get through the fights faster.
Yep, now 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Serendipity is going to start their push anew. Pretty much starting their entire composition over. Zeus with great sight lines here at the back of the fight. Able to just pick off damage. There goes the jump in, but immediately met with the concussion mine. So Pwn not going to be able to have any significance there. Not even able to land, but Zeus getting shot down to 8 health there. Frenic with some sniper-like shots from Zenyatta, trying to channel his inner Jonak. But right now, Magna Ignis doing a really good job of controlling this initial choke point.
Yeah, and a large part of this is Ally on that Junkrat really setting down those traps and concussion mines to just do so much burst damage on anybody diving.
And speaking of Ally, ripping out that Riptire right now, going through the corridors, finds a couple. Oh! Beautiful boot from the Lucio to stop that tire from getting any real damage there. But they're still fighting an uphill battle, just now losing their Diva. They have the high ground, but they're trapped up in this room.
Yeah, it's a precarious position. They don't have a whole lot to directly contest the Widow. As well, they don't really have anything to deal with the what I would call the mid ground either. So they really just have to drop down on the point and hope people will come contest them.
So now the rotation's coming in. Contra not able to make it back to the team. Gonna get desuited before you can get into that initiation. And now Zeus taking place on the bridge, looking for a couple of cheeky headshots. There goes the Transcendence from Frenok to keep the healing up, keep his team in the game. Pyro the Tank still has that self-destruct in their pocket. No other ults are online. There goes the rally from Corey. The second he gets it, he's got to pop it to make sure that everybody stays alive. Pyro still holding on to that self-destruct in this fight as Zeus has to zip across the way. But ooh, Pyro with a beautiful double kill onto the tanks of Serendipity, pushing them back to spawn and all but crippling their hope for taking point A.
Yeah, even if they do take point A, it will already be at a worse time bank than their opponents. And that's not a favorable position, but the big question is, can they even get onto point? It is not seeming likely at this rate. They don't even have a whole lot of ults to work with, just the Diva Bomb and Kanum's grab moving forward.
Not to mention that Ali's sitting here with another Riptire. Fire in the hole, everyone's in a small room. What do we get? Ooh, big save from Pone. Gonna go ahead and rush straight to the point now, but Ali still gonna go ahead and take her pound of skin there, taking Frenok out of the fight. Zeus grabbing one as well, and now it's all over except for Kanum, the last remaining member of Serendipity on the point. And as Zarya dies, we will be moving on to our next map.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, if my caster math is up to scratch, it should now be 1-1 both towards Serendipity and Magna, meaning that we're going to be seeing at least 2 more games here, and that makes me pretty happy. I always love casting these really long games.
It's always nice to see teams like really duke it out. Great invincibility there from Frenok to keep that Orisa alive during that Pharah ultimate, during that barrage.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was just not quite enough, as we're going to be seeing once again. Magna going to be walking away with this one for this map. It will now be on Magna to be banning the next map. And do you think we've kind of seen a difference between the two styles that the teams like to run?
I think we've seen variants. We definitely did see a different side of Magna Ignis on that defense, utilizing the Widowmaker and the Junkrat. And you know, the bunker comp that we saw from Serendipity on defense is nothing out of the ordinary. You know, like you said, we were talking about, you know, where does Baptiste usually fit into the meta in the games that we see, and a lot of times it is with the bunker comp. So I think we've seen pretty much the same thing from Serendipity, but Magna Ignis has shown a couple different faces.
Yeah, I think that right now, Serendipity, at least, you know, if you want to take it at a very basic glance, looked better on the 3-3 map, so they looked better on Lijiang. But Magna Ignis, when they get a little bit more DPS power, a little bit more potential to start playing a little bit differently than the meta we've seen for the past X number of months.
Forever!
Yeah,
Feels like forever.
They start to seem a little bit more comfortable on it. They certainly seem a little bit more powerful on it, relative to Serendipity. So I think it's really going to depend on the maps moving forward. Unless perhaps one of the maps we just saw was a fluke. I kind of would doubt that, though. I think that these teams, at least from what we heard on the side of Serendipity, very prepared for these games.
Now, we did see Pone and the side of Serendipity try to bring out that dive composition there at the end. So they're going to be happy because they've chosen to take us to Hollywood. You said earlier, you know, like you said earlier, lots of high ground and different elevations to play with for dive heroes. I think the Wild West stage is probably one of the most fun areas to play as a DPS hero.
Yeah, I would.
So
certainly...
do you think we see a different face of Serendipity next?
I think it definitely has some potential. I think that Serendipity might have to be careful of Magna Ignis on the second point, as you're talking about the Wild West phase. There is a lot of high ground that a Widowmaker can take some really good sight lines for. So it's worth noting that that's a potential threat. We have no idea who the bans will be coming in through from for Serendipity. But given that it can be anything, I think they're going to try to pick something that will enhance their play style. They're still looking a little bit hesitant to pick, but it's going to come through that it's going to be the Hammond Wrecking Ball.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit interesting, and
Personally, I think that his crowd control ability, although it doesn't, a lot of people said that it didn't do enough damage or it didn't have big enough impact, but you know, as somebody who plays a lot of hit scan, and you know, I play a lot of Ana, when you get knocked up into the air like that, or when someone that you're aiming at gets knocked up in the air like that, it's extremely disorienting.
Yeah. It's if you have a very aim-intensive hero and you just absolutely jump on them, it's easy work for the Hammond. But we also see Hammond mostly in the very high DPS style compositions. So methinks a little bit here that banning the Hammond kind of prohibits those play styles just a little bit. You're not going to be seeing the quad DPS as comfortably if they don't have the Hammond in it. They're instead using a D.Va or something along those lines, which we did see get protected this round.
And once again, D.Va has been protected. I feel like that's just like, if you're a real Overwatch player, you'll protect D.Va.
It depends on the maps, because 95% of the time it's either D.Va or Lucio. Lucio almost certainly if it's a control map, just because that speed boost is so valuable to some teammates or some teams.
Ooh, I am liking what I am seeing from Magna Ignis. Bringing back a traditional 2-2-2.
Yeah, worth noting, Magna Ignis now going to be on the left. They are starting off on the defense in the blue for those of you at home. And again, for those of you at home, don't forget to vote. Let us know who you think is popping off this game. We'll definitely be sure to announce it at the end of the cast after our post-game interview with whatever team have one member from the winning team.
I definitely think Ali was the MVP of Temple of Anubis. Don't let me sway your vote. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, no, definitely. Casters definitely have their own opinions. And, I mean, you know, I mentioned it before. We're almost always wrong. But, you know, this is the one time chat can say something. So, moving forward, though, I'm liking the Ashe pick from Zeus. Haven't seen Ashe a whole lot lately. A lot of high damage burst potential and massive small potential. Big!
Beautiful shot from Zeus onto Diane through the hedge when they were on the stairs, and now you're gonna have to see Serendipity back all the way out, because that Brig is the linchpin of that composition.
Yeah, and I want to point out ult charges right now. Look at Ali. Ali has 50% ult charge already. That is ridiculous. They're going to be seeing a swap come through from Serendipity. They're going to be going a little bit of a long-range hit scan as well. But it's just, that is going to be a tire you're going to have to deal with in 1 or 2 fights easy.
Looks like Magna Ignis, they are doing the smart thing. They keep checking tab, making sure they know what's coming at them. They did see the switch onto Widowmaker, so Zeus has recalled themselves from the high ground, put themselves behind the shield, waiting, and almost gets the kill onto Pone, while Final and Ali grab themselves a couple, putting Ali onto a fine track for a Riptire. Zeus pushing over the high ground, does get halted off, but it's alright, because he's got a team to save him.
Yeah, and that is such a tricky spot, because once you lose your DPS and your tags have already committed to the rotation, you basically have to either leave your tags there and hope that Magna doesn't rotate to just kill them, or try to do the extraction, and either way you're looking to take some damage.
Serendipity now switching over to a much more dive-friendly composition. They will be bringing out the Genji, since there is no Brig on the opposing team. That is, you know, more of a viable option. See how Pone initiates the dive. Pone diving onto the high ground, takes a lot of damage and gets booped away in the process. Riptile gonna come out from alley, and it's gonna grab 3, and a beautiful play there from Magna Ignis here. They're gonna grab a great defense. They're sitting pretty comfortable right now.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Magna Ignis is not running the easiest comp to Winston, D.Va, when they start using their movement abilities towards Magna, they have Zeus's Coach Gun to contend with. They have Ali's Concussion Mines to contend with. Pyro the tank going to be using that D.Va boosters to knock people around. That's a tough spot to get onto that cafe.
There it is again, Ali starting off the fight with a big start, grabbing a double kill there, looking for the triple onto the Lucio, now able to find it. Final's gonna go ahead and take that from her as Bob takes out Contra on the D.Va. And with 1:18 seconds left, it seems like we're just seeing Serendipity throw themselves at Magna. Ignis?
Yeah, and it's pretty tough. I don't know if they're going to be able to run an effective dive unless they manage to catch somebody like Zeus really out of position, as we saw Zeus was standing on top of Office a little bit ago. But if Junkrat's playing those traps like we've seen Ali playing them in the past, it's going to be very tough, especially for Pone.
Frennick trying to get the upper hand there, hacking the Junkrat. There goes the self-destruct. There's no Winston bubble to save anybody. Kane, I'm going to go ahead and fall. Now they're down 2 men. Make that 3. It's a 3v6 right now on the point. Pone with 69 health trying to stay alive and tick on. With 34 seconds left, we will once again be seeing Magna Ignis repel the attempts of Serendipity to take point A.
Yeah, and I imagine that it's going to be Serendipity just committing to this comp one last time. They have the EMP, they have the Primal. It's probably the best they'd be able to do, just get that EMP burst, disable all the abilities, and then maybe the dive can come in a bit easier. But I really think it's just going to depend on how Frennick can set this up.
Riptire and Transcendence still there. There goes the hack onto the entire team. It does grab 3, so it grabs a good bunch. Now there's Hans Frennick going to be able to find the kill on to Final. He's going to get rezzed back up, but Pone takes Pyro out of the tank, so no self-destruct on the table, but they don't need it. Zeus going to take J-Mart out of the fight. There goes your Mercy. There goes your healing Riptire onto a Primal Raging Winston. Not going to get the kill. We're going to get him low enough that he's going to be able to go ahead and be taken down by Pyro on the baby D.Va. There goes the Dragon Blade coming out from Kanem, looking to save his team in true solo queue fashion. The lone Genji on point. Not able to pull it off, so we will see Serendipity do a full hold here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that really comes down to just the difficulty that Magna was making it to dive, or that Magna was providing to dive Serendipity. Or Magna was making it for Serendipity to dive. Because, as I mentioned, they had so much stuff that just mitigated anybody getting onto that high ground aside from going through the staircase. And you don't want to be taking those wide wraparounds. I think that we're really kind of seeing how DPS play comfortable Serendipity is, or excuse me, I'm getting my names all mixed up. We're seeing how DPS comfortable Magna is, especially now that we have Ali on this Junkrat. We've seen it twice already now with Anubis and Hollywood. And overall, I gotta say, this is definitely looking like their more comfortable style of play.
Yeah, Ali has just been absolutely phenomenal on that projectile DPS.
Yeah, and now we're going to be looking to see what team comps are going to be coming up for this next time around. Serendipity now just going to be sticking to the traditional 3-3 Zenyatta fill onto the support. Usually it's a debate between Zenyatta, Ana, or Moira. I haven't seen Moira in a long time. Ana still used in a niche situation. Zenyatta is the most common, however. So I'm not going to be breaking the mold too much there. And still waiting on Magna to really roll out of the gates before I comment too much on that. But it looks like they may be attempting for a little bit of a dive style themselves.
Attackers incoming.
Well, we're switching it all around. What do we got? Pyro is going to be going back onto the D.Va. No surprise there. Oh, they're going to send Zeus out to scout on the Sombra. He's going to come back and tell him, you know what? I think we should go with our own little pseudo goats here. Panda, however, is going to... Nope, we'll be switching over to the Reinhardt. So they will be going with the traditional 3-3 themselves, mirror compositions.
Yeah, and I definitely don't disagree with this. It looks like they're going to do a rotation into the right side. Very aggressive charge from Pone.
Yeah, very aggressive charge indeed from Pone. And Magna will back out. A good withdrawal there. They didn't have the fight where they wanted it. They will be moving now to the high ground, but they are not going to get beat. Pone is there, and that's a small corridor. You don't want to be caught in a small corridor with a Reinhardt. Pone, however, going to keep his charge right where it is. Not going to push anybody. They're doing a great job right now at repelling Magna Ignis.
Yeah, and right now Magna Ignis not really looking like they know where they want to go. They're going to be taking it around back, seeing if they can find that rotation to have any more value.
Oh, here we go. Pone able to get in there. Is knocked down by the Brig, but does have the Shatter in his back pocket. Everybody clamped up inside of a room. He's just going to go ahead and swing his hammer and cause devastation on the point. He's going to grab himself 3. Frennick going to get the little cherry on top with the Baby Diva, as well as Ali on the Brig. Serendipity holding strong on the first attack.
Yeah, and that's really what Serendipity needed. What they also need is to maintain this ult control right now. We're seeing them with, it's gonna probably be a full 6 by the end or mid fight of this next go around, and there's not as much power coming through from Ignis on that front, so they really want to make sure they don't invest too much so they can maintain that control throughout the next fights.
Oh, the Shatter, however, from Pone, not finding anything. There goes the counter Shatter. It does find 1 kill, but the Graviton's gonna grab him in the middle of his charge. There goes the Diva Bomb grabbing 2. Diane and Frennick both gonna grab themselves a couple as well. And once again, Serendipity able to cling on at the end here. J-Mart and Frennick both still have those support ultimates.
Yeah, and that's gonna be very good, especially considering Zeus has
no.
that grab online.
Pone getting a little bit over aggressive, trying to kill the Baby Diva, puts himself in a tricky position. They are able to recover. That was a gutsy decision.
Yeah, very fortunate that they did not get punished too severely for that. But again, this is the danger situation I was talking about. Magna now going to be having 4 ults online and only 2 support ults from the defending side to come through.
There goes the self-destruct. There goes the Transcendence, able to keep everybody alive. The hammer down. Nobody there to grab. Pan trying to fight off Pone here on the Reinhardt. There is a sound barrier coming out from J-Mart to keep his team alive. All right, now Serendipity still able to hold the defense. Magna Ignis not able to find the crack in the door, the crack in the armor to fight through and get to point A right now. Rally from Ali is going to open things up, and a beautiful Shatter comes out from Pano to lay out the entire team and open the door wide for Magna Ignis to waltz onto the point and take Hollywood.
Yeah, and that was a really good focus. They saw that once that Reinhardt
Beautiful quintuple kill there by Pando, trying to make his own argument for that MVP vote. Don't forget, guys, vote for the MVP. We've got, let's say, 2 more maps to go, hopefully. You've got a little bit of time, but make sure you get your vote in before the end of the match. It does seem like we have had a power outage here in the booth. Sir Wiltham's power went out. It's all right. I'm sure that he is safe and sound. Right now, with that, we have 2-1 in favor of Magna Ignis. They've been able to carry themselves across a couple of maps. We do have still available. Well, I guess we're banning our next map right now. We've already banned Dorado, Ilios, played Lijiang Tower, as well as Hollywood. So we still have Junkertown, Eichenwald, Ilios, Hanamura, and Paris still on the table as far as selections go. Right now, I think Serendipity, they're going to be the team to choose the next map. And I think that we see them go to a... I honestly do. I think we see them go to an escort map or a hybrid map. They've had a little bit of trouble with gaining purchase on the points. And so I think you take that point out of the equation. It's going to be something where you just have to escort. Looks like Dorado is going to be banned. I believe we already banned Dorado. Just gonna double check with my notes to make sure that that is the truth. Yes, Dorado has already been banned. So it looks like Magna Ignis is gonna have to go back to the drawing board and see what else they want to take off the table. Final. I can see the cogs turning in Final's mind. That little Zenyatta head. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't followed the Watchers Twitch channel, that you make sure and do that so you get notified every time we go live with some amazing Overwatch. That way you don't have to miss anything. So, why spend time watching YouTube videos when you can sit here and meme people in chat? I mean, personally, that's where I'd want to be. Looks like Ilios is going to get banned, so no control points left on the table. We will not be seeing the Well of Wells, home of the environmental kill. Contra pondering the decision of which map they want to take Magna Ignis to on this next fight. I do believe that we are playing a best of 5. With that being the case, if Magna Ignis wins this next map, they will be taking home the match and moving on to the next round. Serendipity with a lot of pressure on their hands here with the decision. They have chosen to go with Eichenwald. So, despite the fact that Magna Ignis was able to full hold them on a hybrid map, they are going to go ahead and take them right back to it, to Eichenwald. Where, granted, you might not be able to set up, you can't really set up the same sort of bunker composition, but you can for sure set up your own version of the bunker composition. Do apologize about Sir Witham. There are some storms hitting our area. Oh, sorry. I'm getting worried. We cannot play the same map type back to back. So that means we will not be going to Eichenwald. We will be going to Hanamura. They're going to take it to an assault map. So, you know, like the great Sir Witham once said, the casters are often wrong. But forget what I said about removing the point. They want to add 2 of them. They're going to be taking Magna Ignis to Hanamura, where I do believe we are about to get the word on which side Magna Ignis wants. Do they want to defend first, or would they like to set the pace and attack first? Personally, I'd like to set the pace and attack first. That way I know exactly what my win condition is in the final condition. If you, granted, your win condition is always to win. But it looks like they'll save Orisa, so we will not be seeing Orisa get banned. Bunker comps, praise ye be. You will have your Orisa to play with thee. And they will be opting to defend first. So Magna Ignis wants to bring in a similar situation to what we saw right there in Hollywood, where Serendipity has to do the first attack. They have to put everything they can into it, and if they can't get it, they do get another full hold, or if they don't get the full first point, then Magna Ignis is able to just kind of roll through on that first point. Yeah, granted, that's the ideal that they're looking for, and ooh, a little bit of a juicy thing here. We will be banning Mercy this map. Muffin not too excited about that. Contra, however, very excited about it. So, there go my dreams of a pharmacy and a damage boosted Widowmaker and a damage boosted Torbjorn. Although I still think that Torbjorn should be, a viable thing. Just saying, just throwing it out there. No one has to agree with me if you want to. We will have Magna Ignis on the defense, Serendipity on here on Hanamura. We are also getting Sir Witham back in the booth. You guys don't have to just listen to me ramble all night. He's gonna be back. You'll get the sweetness of his voice in just a bit. We are going to head and kick things off, however. He'll be joining back midway, so he's gonna have to catch up to speed, but it's okay. I'll give him the spark notes. We're gonna go ahead and head in. We don't want to make these teams wait. We don't want to make you guys wait, so we're gonna throw it in. I'm gonna throw this on my back, and whenever Sir William gets back, he'll be able to give me support and continue carrying the cast. Does look like Corey is going to be coming back in for Serendipity. Quick substitution. Diane going to be taking a bench seat for this map. No doubt Serendipity going to be running a 3-3 composition, bringing Corey in for that, or sorry, for a projectile position on the defense so that they can have that Junkrat. I expect to see Corey on the Junkrat by the end of the map. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hanamura, probably one of my favorite destinations design-wise in the game. I mean, the beautiful cherry blossoms, the architecture. I think that the aesthetics of the entire map are extremely awesome. Even the city in the background, you know, very futuristic and very well designed. Playing it, however, I hate. Not a huge fan of playing on Hanamura. I'm also just not a huge fan of the map within a competitive setting at all. That's mainly because I have lots of very traumatic and bad experiences of Hanamura. But you know what? That's my own issue, so me and my therapist can talk about that later. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and get into the action. Now that the lobbies have opened up, teams are able to pick who they want to play. Magna Ignis, once again, on the defense. And they're looking to go with a mean and nasty bunker comp. Zeus is going to be playing the Bastion. They've got Muffin and Final on the support roles with the Anna and the Baptiste. Pyro, of course, and Pando. They're going to go ahead and be taking on the tank roles with the Diva and the Orisa. Ali, who we've seen just tearing it up on the Junkrat and the Fair, are going to be taking the mantle of the May, the Ice Queen, within this composition. On the opposing side, we're seeing a lot of DPS. It's a lot of damage per second. But I don't think we're going to be seeing that for the final run of things. We'll see what they're switching off to now. We see Frenna going, of course, to the Zenyatta. Jmar onto the Widowmaker still. I think they're going to send Corey out on the Sombra to do some scouting. So Corey is going to be able to come over here and realize that they have the bunker composition. They have the Bastion, so they're going to bring a Bastion of their own to the fight. Corey going over to the Hanzo, Jmar on the Anna, Frennick on the Baptiste, Pone on the Orisa, and Contra on the Diva. Positioned here on the high ground. It's going to be pretty difficult for that counter bunker composition to really get set up. Now they're just able to peek outside. The beautiful anti-nade coming in from Jmar, making it so that Contra, Canum, and Pone are unable to receive healing. Beautiful patience, however, from Final on her own healing grenade. And now it's just a Bastion versus a Bastion. Zeus getting a little bit uncomfortable there as Muffin's invincibility drone, or invincibility field, I should say, it's taken out pretty quick. Sonic Arrow from Corey, going to make sure they know exactly where everybody is. There goes the shield break. Beautiful halt. Not able to bring anybody off of the high ground, though. Canum, however, not going to finish jumping out the damage. Both invincibility fields are out. Corey trying to get a cheeky shot above the shield, but not able to do so. There goes the amplification field, but oh no! It looks like Muffin's amplification field was not placed in just the right spots behind the team, so they're not going to get any purchase from that as Pyro gets de-suited. Now, Canum with that tank formation, not going to be able to find any, or able to find the kill onto Ali. Zeus, however, with the nano boosted tank formation, looking to grab a little bit more. The dragons from below, not able to find any kills, but definitely able to displace the side of Magna Ignis on this defense. And now Serendipity moved their bunker composition slowly but surely onto the point as it ticks up into to a full completion. Pando not able to initiate back onto the point. The shield on recharge there, but the halt bringing the whole team down onto the point. There goes the shield. Beautiful anti-nade coming out onto the team. Corey getting mighty low on the Hanzo, but able to find his way back to healing and to that supercharger and go on a tear. Corey, you know, final kill on a Pyro the tank as the Blizzard does come out as a last-ditch effort. Contra's gonna go ahead and just nobble that up as a snack. So now, with 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go, we are going to see Serendipity with a fire underneath their butts, heading over to point B. Magna Ignis on the defense, not going to be switching up much. Ali still on the Brigitte, Muffin, or sorry, Ali switching over to the Brigitte. They're switching their whole composition. I mean to say, they've switched off of the bunker comp more into a traditional 3-3 Ghost. It's a composition that's done them a lot of good in the past maps, and they're hoping to do them a lot of good now. Dropping off of the high ground to combat Serendipity on the low ground. There go the dragons coming out immediately onto the point. Not going to find any purchase. Going to split them, however. Pyro the tank and Pando off to the right. Zeus, Ali, and the rest of the team over to the left. There's the amplification matrix coming out from Frennick to help them get the kills on the point. Pando getting mighty low. He's going to go and get taken out, so there's no shield for the Diva Bomb. Everybody has to hide in the stairwell. And now Muffin coming up onto the high ground. Contra has him in his sights. Her in his sights, I'm sorry. Zeus trying to do something from the edge of the stairwell, but not able to find any purchase or presence on the point. And Serendipity is going to ring this one up. Oh, there it is. barely in time. Pando going to trigger it, the contest, but he dies very quickly. Final having to move herself onto the point on that Ana. Ali on the Doomfist trying to find some help, and even the Scales does find the kill on Decarius. Cannon finds the kill on a Muffin. Pone and Cannon both able to grab something here as the supercharger gets put onto the point. Pyro the tank able to survive as the Baby Diva for just long enough to get Pando back onto the point. This will be a point for Serendipity.
Thank you, Steidel. Let me give you a little bit of break there. I know it was just you soloing for a little bit. Good to be back, by the way.
Welcome back.
Man, and that was a very good attack we saw coming through on the attacking side. I'm really overall pretty pleased with what I saw. I saw only the very back end of, I believe it was Serendipity's attack on Hanamura here. But I'm surprised they were able to get that Bastion located directly onto point and use it just kind of as a forward flak gun to just mow down anybody coming out of spawn. It's really going to give Magna the idea that they cannot give a lot of space here. If they do, I'm sure Serendipity will take every inch and use it to whatever advantage they can. And really no more will that be, well, that's particularly apparent on the attack, but now they're going to have to apply those principles on defense.
I think that's actually one of the first times that that I've ever seen the anti-bunker comp, bunker to bunker, on an assault map.
Well, it certainly didn't seem like it worked out too poorly for Serendipity. Of course, they do have 2 points left on the board with more time than they started, to speak well. And now it's just going to be up to Magna to see how well they can perform under a similar situation. But we're going to be seeing the Mei come out from the defense here. Kanem on this Mei. I like it. I haven't seen a lot of Mei on this point recently. And I think it's such a strong pick if you're able to utilize the wall.
Takes you back to the OG days of Season 3 and 4.
Ah, yes. But we are going to be seeing, it's looking like the standard triple coming out from the attacking team, and they're going to have to play really sharp to get around this wall, as I mentioned, from Kanem.
I almost wish they had stuck with the more divey composition, heroes that are able to kind of go over the wall. That's a really good way to counteract the Mei, especially on this point.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Regardless, they're going to stick with the 3-3 versus the 3-3, so we'll see the Reinhardts just swinging their hammers around the corner, trying to get a little bit of purchase and build up those ultimates as quickly as possible. Pone definitely doing a lot of work towards that at 67%. Pando with a good anticipation on that charge, but he's getting frozen and taken out, but he's not going to be the one to fall. Corey and Pone are, and now you're going to see Magna Ignis, and they have an open door to the first point as Zeus and Pando in final pave the way with the bodies of Serendipity.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Serendipity just got punished for doing that thing I was just talking about Magna not being able to do. They backed off, and once Magna realized that the team had backed away from the choke, they surged through. Yeah, the wall came up from Kanem, but it only sectioned off 3 as opposed to just the singular target you want. And even then, the wall still allowed for a little bit of bypass, so they weren't able to capitalize on the wall as they would have if they were really disciplined and waited at that choke with full force.
But coming into point 2, they do not have a real massive advantage on the ultimates. However, there goes the giant ultimate. That hammer down from Pone, grabbing 4 members of Serendipity. Magna just Serendipity tearing through. That was Pone's shatter.
Yeah, and now it's going to be Pando who will have the next Earth Shatter online. As we see, it's about 1% from coming online, so it's nearly there. But a lot of ultimates, all tank ultimates, and the trance coming in from the side of Magna, and really Kanem as well. It's going to be up to Pyro to really mitigate this ult coming out from that Mei player.
Yep, and as we see very often, I would expect to see Contra use the grab on the corner of this wall as to not get eaten, and there you go. No, it's going to be Zeus doing the grab. Counter grab as well. Ultimates coming out left and right. Still nobody falling, however. The Blizzard from Kanem saving everybody's lives here on this defense. Once again, Magna Ice is going to have to go back to spawn, and they used a lot of ultimates in that fight.
Yeah, Magna is going to be suffering because of that. If I count them up, just doing a cursory glance, I see 4 ults that were used: the Trance, the Grab, the Earth Shatter, and the Diva Bomb, all that got nothing for it. And at the end of the day, I think it was just the similar Trance, Diva, Trance Grab, and Mei ult coming from the defensive side So overall, they came out of that looking pretty good. They're going to be swapping around Kanem, getting off that May to go to the Zarya, and Contra just swapping spots.
Getting our fight at the same time. And once again, Pwn coming in big with the Shatter, getting the entire team there, allowing for Kanem and Corey to get those 2 kills. And man, Serendipity doing a great job supporting their main tank and allowing him to pave the way.
Yeah, Pyra going to be getting staggered as is the usual. Has that mech ready up, but I don't think she wants to use it quite yet. And instead will just be sent back to spawn courtesy of the death taxi. But with that being said, now time's looking a little bit more even for Magna and Serendipity. Magna's really gonna have to push it to point these next few pushes if they want to make a time that's even comparable to the side of Serendipity.
Here we go once again, back into the what's now going to be named the Corridor of Death. They're trying to get by. They get split up by half of the team, however, but the rally from Ali going to come in pretty big here at the end of this fight. Counter rally from Corey as well, but a lot of ultimates still in the pocket for Serendipity as Magna makes their way onto the high ground. They are able successfully to get every single member onto the high ground, but they come back to the low ground to take this fight. Contra almost getting out of the mech, but Pando finally able to get the kills onto Kanem. Transcendence from Final, keeping Magna alive as Serendipity falls. Contra on the Diva getting mighty low and having to take themselves out of the fight for the moment. Corey going to fall on that Brig. And now Spawn still in favor of Serendipity, but Magna finally finding themselves a little bit of purchase onto the point. Beautiful Graviton, the Diva Bomb behind, and not able to find the kill onto Kanem. They're going to have to reinitiate one man down. Phoenix Transcendence able to keep the rest of them alive. Pano grabs a nasty shatter, putting 3 members on the ground. And now he gets the kill onto Pone with the help of Pyro the tank. Just a couple of divas, just that little baby diva on the point, and they'll be able to take this.
Man, there was so much going on there that I was just such a big fan of. From the boost of the Reinhardt to allow the attacking Reinhardt to get that Earth Shatter in underneath the shield, to the Reinhardt carrying the Zarya off. I didn't really like that as much. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a little bit risky for Pando to just carry off Kanem onto the side of the map, considering the respawn time. The rotations were also a bit weird, but it seems like they were just trying to get the kills and then aggress onto point, which obviously it opened up the position for them to do that. And now we're going to be seeing Magna once again on the attack here. And their time bag is looking decent, but not quite as good as the side of Serendipity.
Yeah, the name of the game for them is going to be taking point A as quickly as possible. Because you only get, 30 seconds added on the assault map type, so not a lot of extra time, just enough to get your team from point A to point B. So you want to make sure that you come into that fight with an ult advantage.
Yeah, and that means even Zeus on this Sombra, just to do a bit of scouting, is going to be a costly endeavor. I'm sure they're kind of having to weigh their options because, Zeus, if they go out just to scout, that's going to take probably 5 seconds of recon time just to find out, they're playing the same thing. And yeah, it's something you're willing to do, but it's still expensive in the grand scheme.
No, looks like he's going to immediately go back to spawn and switch on over to the Zarya and Pando onto the Reinhardt. So they took your advice. They didn't want to spend the time to go and check it out. They heard something going on, and they're like, yeah, no, it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, we will see how much ground Serendipity going to be holding this time around with that May. See if they back up as much, and they are.
Oh, there you go. The speed boost in. Quite well done. Able to get past the May wall, but Pone and Contra both able to find themselves a kill before the gods have left us. Zeus, like there was a disconnection on the side of Magna.
Yes, it's Zeus from the side of Magna. I believe it was the Zarya player, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Going to be just taking disconnect. I cannot even begin to criticize right now because the disconnect life happens, folks. I have seen the light. I can no longer talk about how it's such an inconvenience for us, although I never really thought that. But still, it happens to even the best of us. Some things just can't be anticipated, and this is not the worst spot for somebody to drop. It was already looking like the fight was going pretty favorably for Serendipity. Zeus dropping for Magna just means they'll be back at spawn. Yeah, they'll lose a little bit of ult charge, but with a fight that short, you wouldn't expect the Zarya to necessarily have heaps of ult charge right off the bat.
Yeah, even Contra on the winning side of the fight, still only at 18%.
Yeah, if it was maybe a Reinhardt or that frontal tank that's able to just get the massive initial damage, as we see with Pwn, then it might be a different story. But even still, I don't think it's going to be as impactful. You like to see it at the beginning of the fight rather than later.
Very true. And now we're going to see Serendipity taking advantage of the lesser member, making sure that they get pushed all the way back to spawn, get all the damage they can, and they get a D-suit onto Pyro.
Yeah, Pyro going to be taking a lot of time to get that suit back up. However, we'll be getting it back. As I'm saying that,
Caster's Curse, man.
Caster's Curse, Pwn with the slam.
Beautiful wall into a shatter. Pwn able to get Muffin on that kill, and that's going to be all that she wrote. Pyro the tank trying to stay alive. Beautiful shield bash from Ali to try and get the out of position May. Gets hunting down her Zenyatta. Not going to happen, however. Krennic going to be the one coming out on top.
Yeah, Kanem seems to be using the walls a little bit more effectively this time around. I don't know if it was just a fluke the first time or whatever the case may have been, but getting those sectionals really kind of disrupt Magna Ignis's playstyle right now, and it's just Serendipity just feasting upon it.
So we'll see what Magna is able to get here. They do have a speed boost from Muffin. See what they're gonna try and do. Muffin's gonna drop over the top, it looks like. There goes the rally from Serendipity, just making sure that they're armored up for the next fight. We're gonna have a counter rally from Ali. Can't have them have more health than you. That's not fair, but ooh, wall into a Graviton. That's a sad story as Payno gets taken out by the charge from Pwn, and he follows up with a Fire Strike onto Ali to just completely destroy that attack.
Yeah, an important thing to note is that even Pyro got stuck in the grav, but she got stuck on the other side of the wall, meaning she couldn't use the boosters to come mitigate any of that damage or even face tank for those soft squishies that also got stuck in the grav. And Contra got a lot more value than they may have anticipated with that. It's going to win in the fight either way.
So with 40 seconds to go, this may be their last and final push, and they're pushing into a bank of ultimates.
What's Pwn doing? He's going up for the high Earth Shatter.
He does get chased out. He does find himself a little bit of purchase, but the real fight is definitely going in favor of Pyro the tank and the side of Magna Ignis with a beautiful 4K. They had to invest almost everything in it to get it, but they are able to get themselves onto the point, and I think that team kill, that ring of the bell, is going to put them to point B.
Yeah, and that is really good awareness from Magna. They are almost immediately prepared for the Reinhardt. It almost seemed like he got shield bashed or stunned out of the Earth Shatter. Either way, it found nothing and put Payno it put Pwn in a really awkward position, just making an easy cleanup for the team.
And Magna wasting no time, getting immediately onto the point, will be met by the cold embrace of Kanem on this May, but the Transcendence from Final going to keep his team alive throughout that Blizzard. And now, Zeus on the high charge Zarya trying to find the kill onto Contra. There goes the charge from Pwn, but he gets stunned out of it by a shield bash from Ali, who pops the rally to keep the team alive. But Kanem and Corey, they're both going to find themselves a couple of kills here on the defense. And Magna Ignis is not going to be able to secure point B as the overtime ticker is ticking down.
Yeah, it was a very good last breach on that first point. Just did not have enough momentum to really kind of continue to carry them through to the second point. Overall, I don't think they'd be too upset about that. This is definitely good draw territory, and if you have a solid defense, it's even decent win territory. So I think that overall Magna got to be taking what they can get.
Now, we did see Magna come out with the bunker composition for the defense to open up Hanamura, and we saw the counter bunker defense coming out from Serendipity. Do you think we see anything like that from Magna on the defense again? Well,
I'm gonna cheat a little bit because the roster
trying to get that question out there before they told you the answer.
Just came up, but I mean the bunker comp obviously going to be coming through from the defense, and I don't disagree with it. I'm a little bit surprised we're going to be seeing Ali on the May, given how much we've seen her just use Junkrat to some absolute effect. But that being said, Junkrat probably a little bit better when you're running a bunker against dive, but if you're running a bunker against a ground style attack, then the May kind of makes a little bit more sense. You're able to get that sectional, as I mentioned earlier, the slow. Either way, a solid bet, but we're going to see another DPS heavy comp coming through from Serendipity. At least that's what it seems like, as Corey going to be doing some scouting.
All right, they see the bunker composition. They said, you know what? We've done this before. Let's bring it. Canum, switch over to Bastion.
Yeah, one thing I might like to see is them try to use a sim to teleport and make the defending bunker comp have to rotate, because that's when it looks weak.
All right, so the fight does ensue, and neither team really able to find a lot of purchase, battling out the Orisha shields and Bastions, but Canum and the rest of Serendipity all have been able to push Zeus and Magna Ignis into different positions, so they're taking the fight on their own terms with a very early dragon coming in from Corey, and everybody's caught up, and a small corridor final is going to fall. There goes an amplification made just from both sides of the coin, but it's going to be the Serendipity side that's taking the cake here. They will take point A with ease here, very early.
Yeah, and I really like how methodical Serendipity went with that. They didn't just try to get, the Bastion to point with one Orisa shield. They went piece by piece. They cut the pie, as it's sometimes referred to, and they really kind of angled out Magna, and Magna just did not seem ready for it. They didn't seem quick enough to respond, and then when that Hanzo Dragon came through, separated them, caused them to just go into such disarray that there was no way they were recovering from it.
Let's see how the initiation goes. They will be doing the same tactic as they did last time, taking the low ground. Knowing that there will be a Bastion on the high ground, this cuts off the sight line for him, forcing him to go down to the point. Corey going to go ahead and use a Sonic Arrow into that stairwell so they know exactly where the opposing team is. Good rotation from the side of Magna Ignis to make sure that their Bastion is going to be in a good spot to grab the opposing Bastion. There comes a Supercharger from Pone, but a beautiful wall to mitigate a lot of the damage that would have come out as Zeus pops the tank confirmation. Canum is going to be doing the same, but the Blizzard comes out from Alley. And that bunker composition doesn't do too well in the snow. Frennick gonna go ahead and fall down to Pando as the repositioning of Zeus gets him killed by Canum. And now there's an opportunity for the side of Serendipity. Magna Ignis gonna have to wait for that Bastion to respawn before they can really get a good hold on damage. Pando's shield doing what it can to mitigate the damage from Canum in this final fight. The Dragons from Corey looking to change the story. They're gonna find themselves nothing as the invincibility field coming out from Muffin is going to keep the side of Magna Ignis alive. Self-destruct on the back of Alley's double. Going to land on the high ground, so it will not find any kills, but Alley going to continue to throw the team on her iceberg. As Contra on that baby diva going to get staggered out.
Yeah, I really liked that Alley was just playing that side wall the entire time, meaning that if anybody poked through the Orisa shield or if the Orisa got too aggressive towards that Mei would be in just the danger zone of freezing everybody in there. Not sure why Final necessarily felt it appropriate to give Alley the nano boost and then not see any right clicks come through, but it helped to clean up the fight. But speaking of ults, only 2 going to be online, 1 for each team, and the rest will be very dry moving forward.
That is true, but Alley will have that life-saving Blizzard that we've seen her use before. There goes the wall to mitigate the team. There goes the Blizzard, and this time not Eden. Contra going to be immediately frozen. The rest of the team is left to fall, and it's just a shooting gallery for Final right now, down on the point. Lucio trying to go up and dislodge that Zenyatta, but gonna get frozen off by the Mei and taken out. Alley once again taking out both supports in this final fight.
Yeah, and it looks like we're finally gonna see a change come through from Alley. It is indeed going to be the Brig coming out. And now we're seeing triples coming in from both sides. This is a little bit more standard from what we would have expected, but I think that Magna Ignis, very good to just be able to make the comp they had last until now. I mean, they have a minute left. Contra's only going to have the bomb up. You don't feel too wary about that without Cannon's grab.
Here they go with another initiation. They use the low ground once again. Off the high ground comes Magna Ignis. Pando getting his initiation onto the point, does get a counter charge and takes Corey out of the fight, and that is huge at the beginning of this fight. Shatter comes in, does take Pyro and Zeus down to the ground, but not going to be taking them out of the fight just yet, as Alley finds the kill on Depone. Lost your Reinhardt, lost your Brig, lost your Zarya. The fight is all but over, as Contra tries to stay alive for as long as possible here on the point. Fernet getting booped down to the low ground, and that low mobility robot not going to do too well on his own. They're definitely going to stagger out that Zenyatta.
Yeah, and speaking of stagger, the Contra also getting the massive stagger. That is going to be so painful. There's only 10 seconds now. There is no way Contra will be able to meet up with the team. Frennick going to be having the only ult on the offensive side ready to go at the start.
Oh, looking for the May wall. There goes a beautiful boop. Oh, not able to keep him off from the overtime point, however. Pone going to charge himself back into the point, getting booped away once again by Muffin to save the day as Final Pando and Zeus all grab themselves a couple of kills. We'll see the Transcendence come in, but it's just a little bit too little, too late.
Yeah, that means it will be a draw for both of these teams. Neither one wanting to give it up right now. It is looking fierce between the two.
So that means we get another map of Overwatch.
It's very true. You can't forget that. I like hearing it, but man, it is. These teams have seemed very evenly matched throughout this. I mean, we saw the 99-99 twice, I believe it was, or at least the 99 the first time, and then a very strong second round coming through on Lijiang Tower. Temple of Anubis seemed a little bit more one-sided, but still, I don't think that these teams are head over heels one better than the other. It's very competitive as we're seeing right now.
I definitely agree. I think that we saw a whole different side of Serendipity on Hanamura than we did on Temple of Anubis. It did seem like they were just not really adept at that composition, or sorry, that map style, and then kind of shown on Hanamura with the way they were able to execute that attack bunker composition.
Yeah, Hanamura definitely kind of opened things up, and you know, it was weird. We talked about how Magna seemed a little bit more familiar on those DPS style comps with the Junkrat and all of that kind of stuff. And then we talked about how how Serendipity seemed a little bit more favorable towards the 3-3. But this time when we saw the teams running so much bunker, it didn't really have like a lot of time to manifest either one of those dynamics. So we couldn't really see who was better in this situation just because they both ran it good in separate ways.
Mm-hmm. It does look like we are entering into the ban and protect phase. So we are waiting on Magna Ignis to ban a map. I do believe it's Serendipity's turn to choose. So if Eichenwald doesn't get banned by Magna Ignis, and if I'm Magna Ignis, I'm going to ban Eichenwald because that's the map that Serendipity wanted to play, but they couldn't go back-to-back hybrid maps. So they had to go with an assault map, which they chose Hanamura.
Yeah, and I mean, there's, you know, this is definitely where it can kind of start to get into the mind games of things. You start to look at what your opponents as well as your team are most comfortable with. You want to pick maps that you're not horrid at, but that your opponents might not be prepared for. So, I don't know. I'd like to see Magna try Eichenwald, but that being said, I don't know how likely it is.
I have a feeling we're going to be going to Paris.
Yeah, especially since Serendipity is going to be picking, if I'm not mistaken.
They will.
And so right now there are 3 maps left. It's going to be Paris, Junkertown, and Eichenwald. And, you know, Paris and Junk, both Bastion-heavy maps, which are, based on Hanamura, kind of a hard thing to read, given that we just saw Bastion be Bastion end in a literal stalemate.
It does look like they will be banning Eichenwald, though. So we will not be getting to see that. So it's between Paris and Junkertown. And I think if you're Serendipity, you're taking them to Paris. It seems like nobody really wants to touch Escort. Everyone's kind of just staying away from Dorado and Junkertown. Yeah, it does look like we're gonna get Junkertown, actually. So they're not going to take Paris. They're going to take Junkertown. There we go. We get some Escort. I get what I want. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, if it's looking like Junkertown, then Bastions will continue to reign, I imagine. Which, you know, when we start talking Bastions, we can start talking a few things that kind of go hand in hand with that. The Orisa, and if there's an Orisa, there's going to probably be something along the lines of a Baptiste and a Mercy to get reses up. So we'll just have to kind of see how that moves forward. But that being said, we are just waiting on these teams to lock in, get ready to go with the hero bans and the map side selection phase. It will be on Magna to ban one hero. And right now, I'm not really sure what they would be in favor of banning. Maybe something that heavily implies that GOAT's composition, that GOAT's style a little bit, but who knows? I've seen these teams kind of operate in a bunch of different capacities, and it just seems like the sky's the limit for this. But I'm liking this. This shakes things up here. We're actually going to be seeing Magna Ignis banning the Bastion. They're not going to be running through with any pirate ship comps. That's interesting. This is kind of one of the friendliest Bastion maps. So without that, it really shakes up how you have to play this map, or how you can play this map even. So that being said, are going to be moving forward. And actually a little bit of a mistake coming through from the production. It looks like Magna Ignis was going to ban Bastion, but instead they actually have the save pick, so a little bit of confusion coming through from the team chat here. Magna Ignis now waiting on their save, and we're going to see how it shakes out. We're still waiting on that.
Ooh. They're gonna save Mercy. They banned Mercy last round, so now they're like, we want our Mercy, please. I want my nano boosted, or my damage boosted Widowmaker.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that the Widowmaker are going to be so prominent throughout most of this map. The first point I think is it's likely. It's likely, or it's plausible. I'd say not likely. I don't know.
I do like to run the Widowmaker on attack on Junkertown on the first point.
I like the double snipers.
Nice high grounds.
Yeah, double snipers is very strong here, and I'm hoping that Magna Ignis opting to ban that Bastion in mistake, not going to come back to bite them. Serendipity may kind of play gentleman's rules here, may not run that Bastion, but seeing them, I think that it's a strat that's too reliable to really want to ban without something in the back pocket. So if Serendipity does go without the Bastion, I think they definitely have something that they think is going to be more potently planned ahead.
So who do you think comes out on top at the end of Junkertown? Do you think Magna Ignis is going to walk away with the 3-1, or do you think Serendipity is going to tie it up and push us to Basan?
I'm honestly going to have to wait and see who the hero ban is coming through from Serendipity, because right now, I think that's gonna determine it. If Magna Ignis is not wanting to play against a Bastion and Serendipity bans anything but Bastion, I'm inclined to kind of go with Serendipity. And Serendipity looks like they're gonna go with Ashe. Interesting. Ashe, I'd say a little bit more reliable on that third point. I don't know if I'd necessarily use her in the first.
Ashe can be really good for counteracting bunker compositions, because with everybody grouped up like that, you get one TNT in there, and you're 30% up to your ultimate already.
Yeah, especially with those damage over time changes that have come in recently. Ashe looking a little bit stronger when it comes to these very clustered teams. And I don't know, I still think that I might give this one to Serendipity, just because I think that they're feeling perhaps a little bit more comfortable on the Bastion. Magna seems like they may have a plan for without, though. So I'm curious, and I'm ready to see how it's going to go. But they'll be starting on the defense, so we're not going to get to see it right out of the gates.
Magna very comfortable on the defensive position.
Yeah, it's certainly seeming like that is the case. And, they're also going to be comfortable with this lead they have. It's only a slight lead, 2 maps to 1. With, of course, the 1 draw, but still, you only have to.
This is it. Like, if as long as they can win this, they can walk away and move on to the next round.
Yeah, or as unlikely as it is, even a draw. A draw would still put Magnus up 1 over Serendipity. I don't think I've ever seen one of these games go with 2 draws, however, especially not when it comes to an escort map. But I like to say that anything's possible.
Well, we'll be seeing what happens. I think this is like my 3rd or my 4th favorite map, because I think that I love the fact that there's just a random windmill out in the distance. Like, there's no houses or anything, just a random windmill.
Yeah, it's certainly the nice little ambiance. It's a windmill in the middle of like a wooded area. It's a little peculiar. You think the trees might affect the wind or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't know enough about wind to dispute this. But that being said, I'm going to be hopping on board with what the defensive team is looking like, and it's seeming like it's going to be a little bit of a pulled pork style here. We're going to be seeing the Orisa Hog come in with the Diva, so still that triple tank style. However, only going to be one support as final on that Hog, going to be very able to keep himself sustained with the take a breather action.
Zeus not able to get the cheeky spot she wanted, but able to get the cheeky kill she was looking for. Ow! Zeus on the Widow, able to take Pone out of the fight very early.
Yeah, that is crucial, and it's I like this positioning we're seeing come through from Magna. You have to get very aggressive when you're going up against a pirate ship comp. You don't want to let them get set up on the cart, and it looks like they're trying to prevent it.
Ooh, beautiful hook coming in from Final, trying to get that Diva out of position. She is able to fly back to her team and heal up.
Yeah, it does not look like it's going to go immediately in favor of Magna, despite that very nice headshot onto Pone from Zeus. And that might be detrimental here, as we're going to see Serendipity get set up onto the cart.
Yep, Ali trying to fight off of the high ground, looking for the kill onto Corey on the counter Hanzo. Not able to find any purchase, however. The ult's still building on either side of the rally. Ali able to find the kill on a Pone, and that's going to open up the Dragons. They want to use that to deter the team they're able to, but it looks like they're going to be able to find all of the kills that they need. Corey getting himself a constellation kill there onto Zeus, which is going to be good as the respawns are coming back in, using this cliff as a protector, and getting hooked off the map after getting killed by Pando. That is going to be it. So now we're seeing Magna Ignis finally kind of dig their heels in.
Yeah, and worth noting, Zeus did get brought up by Muffin, meaning the res won't be available for most of the next fight, but they're not going to be fighting with a man down at the beginning. So very crucial here. Ali also going to be having these dragons. Not a whole lot to combo with, though, but might use it as separation.
And Kanem is keeping a tight eye out for the counter Widow on Zeus, but happens to find Ali on the Hanzo. Ooh, does get sniped, however, by Zeus as the fight continues on. Self-destruct comes out from Pyro the Tank, able to find the kill onto Pone to even up the scales for Serendipity. Magna Ignis, however, still holding strong on the payload. Pyro the Tank able to get another kill there onto Corey, and that's going to deter the attack for just a little bit longer and allow for Pando to get back to the payload with that supercharger.
Yeah, and Ali actually going on a flank with this Hanzo. Had she landed her shots, that could have been very crucial. Would have taken J-Mart out of the fight and been a little bit more of a late stagger onto that Mercy. Would have been so crucial since that Mercy was kind of a solo in that off position.
Ooh, Kanem falling victim to the smooth as silk shot there. Kanem just launching himself into the guy and grabbing that headshot. There go those Dragons getting pretty good purchase on Pando. They will take him out of the fight. Pyro as well getting desuited by those Dragons as Final uses the whole hog to try and get himself some purchase on the defense, but it's not going to go so great. Kanem going to be able to find the kill on Pyro the Tank in that baby Diva form, and now it's just Ali and the Hanzo on the payload there. It sounds kind of like a band, Ali and the Hanzos.
I'd probably listen to it for their like one or two hit songs, and then I'd forget about it in relative obscurity. But moving forward, there's quite a handful of ults coming through. We're looking about half tank full of ults coming through for both teams. Zeus and Muffin going to be having their ults online. Not the most impactful ults, but on the other side, Frenic, Pone, and Contra going to be having them up as well. A lot of damage amplification going to be coming through because of these abilities available for them.
Positioning wise, Magna taking a curious position there. Orisa not really at the front of the battle at the moment as the payload continues to move through. The supercharger kind of not really doing much as there wasn't much of a fight to accompany its placement, as finally Pando does get the contest there down at the ground. Dragons will be a little bit angled a little too high. They're not going to find any kills. Pyro has that self-destruct on the deal, looking for a good moment to throw it in, as Zeus gets the kill onto Corey and Frenic on that Widowmaker, doing a good job of mitigating those small squishy heroes in the back line, as Magna does finally put up the barricade and say, this is too much. We don't want this payload moving any further.
Yeah. Worth noting, one of the big advantages of the comp that Magna is running in comparison to Serendipity is that they do have that Diva, meaning that at least when the Hanzo was online, they did have something to deal with that. Contra going to be switching onto the Diva as well, meaning that Ali gonna have to be placing those dragon strikes a little bit more accurately, a little bit more wary of the D matrix coming through.
Oh, there goes the self-destruct, and there's no shield to save them from it, but it's okay. Everybody out of the and stays safe this time. You see Final fall to the ground as he uses the whole hog to take Contra out of the mech. That baby diva is not going to be able to go very far as Ali takes him out with an arrow.
Yeah, and worth noting as well, I don't know why they would be running, why the side of Serendipity would be running the Mercy instead of the Ana, especially since Corey's going to be on this Genji. You'd like to see that Genji Nano Blade come through. It can deal a ton of damage, especially to the softer targets like the Widow, Mercy, and Hanzo.
Ooh, and there goes Corey trying to find a cheeky kill onto the Mercy, but only going to find Ali and an arrow. Not going to be able to find much as Magna Ignis easily diffuses this attack.
Yeah, Magna, as you said a couple pages ago, definitely dug in their heels, looking very confident that they can hold this right now, and they only have a minute left to hold it. It's going to pretty much be a slow, ultless push, with the exception of maybe the Infrasights coming in from Zeus.
And Corey is on this Genji. He's still trying to get the flank here. Beautiful dash. Went from 30% to 80% on that ultimate. 95% now to the Dragon Blade, looking to find himself something quick. They can get a little bit of purchase here. There goes the Blade, finding one, finding the final. He grabs himself a 4K. The fifth one looking to fall as he lets his Winston chase down the baby diva.
Yeah, and that was the Blade that the team needed on the side of Serendipity. They're going to be making a little bit more cart progress. It might be possible for Magna to contest. We'll have to see if Magna's willing to dive in half askew. This look like they're going for it, and they are. They're going to go for the contest.
There goes the Winston at the final moment. Kanem, however, going to be able to get the kill. Nice kill onto Corey as well from Paindo as the rest of the fight ensues. Looks like Pyro the Technic going to be able to grab a couple. There's a self-destruct, looking to find at least one more. Mercy not able to get inside quick enough, so Pyro's going to take that and put it on her mantle. As well, taking out the Fennec, taking out all the supports, looking for the Widowmaker as well, and that's trouble for Kanem as Pyro eliminates the final member of Serendipity, and they almost got to point B.
Yeah, Serendipity gonna be kind of smacking their foreheads a little bit. That was looking so good for them to get that second tick, or second point rather. But man, it was, I believe, 4 people coming onto point on the side of Magna, and Pyro doing an absolute anchor of a job to keep that point held down, making sure it didn't get progressed, and chasing down those weak targets. As a lot of people know, that Diva really good at kind of harassing very lit targets and just absolutely closing those kills.
Indeedly. And now, as you have to set up your defense, this is all or nothing for Serendipity. Do you go bunker comp?
We've talked about the bunker comp before, and it's not. It's a little bit more forgivable on this map because you can still run it a little bit into the second streets phase, which means you can start. You don't have to worry about swapping and losing a whole bunch of ults, but it's still kind of a risky maneuver. It doesn't allow you to reposition. It can kind of get easily outplayed by a variety of different characters and play styles. It's risky, but I think that I don't think Serendipity would want to do it, and it does look like they're going to, but it might just be a little too high risk for them.
All right, well, it does look like they are going to be going with the pulled pork composition, but Orisa whole hog combination, throwing a Diva into the mix as well, and they are mighty close to the spawn doors here. Looking to get a cheeky kill off of the front here, but not able to find anybody with that halt and hook. So they've put themselves in a very vulnerable position.
Yeah, there is a quick rotation coming through from the side of Magna. I like that. Gonna be getting the kills because of it.
Beautiful work by Ali on the Pharah to break out from spawn and find a quick initial kill. Contra finding the kill onto Zeus, so they do lose that Widowmaker. Pone, however, still holding strong at the beginning of the point. Frennick on that Baptiste, going to be falling low as Paindo does find a kill there. Contra just behind the point, trying to find some support for the rest of her team as Zeus gets the kill onto Pone. Finally, the Orisa is down, and we'll see the payload move by Magna Ignis.
Yeah, and this is a weird spot because now the defensive team is on the offensive side. So you have the Mercy, you have the Hanzo, and you have the Diva trying to attack the cart from behind. We'll see if the Dragon Strike gets anything for it.
not able to find any kills, and with some smart positioning, not going to move or stop the payload either. Beautiful job by Final, just sidestepping the dragons just a little bit. Continuing the payload's movement as it moves almost uncontested now through the majority of the point A phase.
Yeah, and I like Kanum on this soldier because it's not that extremely long range hit scan that you'll be able to take usage of, but it's more the medium range hit scan that rapid fire clean-up that soldier will be able to perform.
Beautiful hook there from Final to put Pwn into range of that barrage. This is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle as the payload is going to protect everybody from the self-destruct from Concha, but not from the self-destruct from Pyro. They're going to grab themselves she's going to grab herself a quick little double. And right now, this is not a bunker comp, but it's a composition that does really, really good at keeping the Orisa and the Roadhog on the payload and allowing the DPS to kind of do what they want. How do you stop it?
This is tough because you have so many long lines of sight to worry about, and especially with dry ults coming up for Serendipity, they're going to have nothing to really reorganize and get momentum back. Final and Pando going to have their ults online. This is grim, but I think you really need to work on focusing your targets if you want any hope of this working out.
So here we go. If Magna Ignis wins this fight, it may be the last fight of the match. Pwn going to be able to take out the supercharger fairly quickly there as Ali's peppering damage, trying to find the kill onto the Lucio. Looking to get a little bit of damage onto the Pharah as well. Finally getting very low on that Roadhog. Going to be taken out by Contra in the end. Ali now taking the high road, one could say, peppering around the top of the map. Now has the barrage available, but a lot of her teammates are dying. Magna Ignis having to make a big decision here. Will they commit the barrage, or will they save it for the next fight? Looks like she went in for the barrage, but oh, she got slapped out of the barrage! Frenic with a beautiful save there, not allowing for the Reddit-worthy barrage at the end of the fight to kill everybody.
Yeah, that was from Ali. The swap's going to be coming in, so you don't necessarily think that's going to be too punishing, but still, if they had kept that Pharah, that would have been a very costly mistake to make. But we're talking about ults. Serendipity going to be having a lot online here. The Diva Bomb, no grab to combo with it, but instead having the Winston Primal. So it's really going to be up to, I anticipate, those two to really try to buy as much time off the cart as possible, particularly with the Primal.
Speaking of Primal Rage, Pwn going to pop that on the back of Corey's rally there. Nothing to really get anybody together, and Concha's still going to be holding on to that self-destruct, just kind of sustaining for a little bit longer on the point. Now the Nano Boost is on board from Frenic. Pando finds the first kill onto Corey as they Nano Boost there to get him a little. Pyro does get that self-destruct kill onto Contra, but Contra's going to fire back real quick with a self-destruct onto Pando, also de-suiting Pyro the tank, so she's not going to be able to be in her suit. But as a baby diva, she's fighting Frenic as an Ana on the payload alone and almost winning the fight. And there's Kanum able to come in and help out, get a little bit of a stagger in there.
Yeah, I really like the way they're playing the defense. Serendipity is playing this with their tanks. Pwn getting very aggressive into the backline and just maintaining dominance over health packs, which is crucial when your front line is pretty much occupied by the Zarya, the Diva, and the rest of your supports. So I like that. They're really utilizing the different angles of attack that were once threatening them.
So now we have a new attack coming in from the high ground down to the low ground. That payload position to get purchased. Now we have the Nano Boost onto Pain. There goes the Graviton as well from Zeus. There's the Nano Boost from Final as well. Ali with the rally, gonna be bringing it into this fight. Pwn going to be the first one to fall on this defense as Kanum gets zoned out by Pyro the tank. But a high charge Zarya is not what you want to be fighting as Diva. The payload, however, still moving a little bit more. Kanum finally coming in with the defenses. Ali and Zeus grab themselves 2 kills, pushing this to a 2v6 on the point. Pando with the Primal Rage gonna be helping out, but he will get zoned out by Kanum with that Graviton as a little bit of a last-ditch effort to stop Magna Ignis in their tracks. Pwn, however, back on point now with the Winston, will be taken out with a little bit of focus fire as we see Magna Ignis just cruise their payload on into the final point. No! Will be a little bit of a delay now. J-Mart able to get there on the Lucio. Now they're going to send in Corey on the Brig. Staggering on isn't going to work too well. There's the self-destruct to clear everybody off as Hammond not able to get back to the point in time for the stall.
Yeah, that means that Magna Ignis will be taking this, and they'll be finishing the series with the series of 5 games, 1-3 in favor of, once again, Magna. And overall, that was a lot different than I kind of expected it to be. I don't think we saw a whole lot of pirate ship come through, particularly on the second half when it came to the defense for Serendipity. I just gotta say, overall, it was pretty impressive.
That it was. It seemed like Magna was a little bit more prepared to deal with the long-term ult game. There were definitely a lot of moments where we saw Serendipity commit 4 or 5 ults into a fight and not really be able to come out on top of it. And so when they were met with the next fight, they were now at this massive disadvantage for ultimates, and it just became difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go into our post game here, folks, definitely don't forget to vote on your favorite player of the match. Got those MVP votes down in the Twitch chat, so let us know who you think the best player of tonight was. We'll be sure to announce that before we sign off here. But before we get to that, we'll give you guys a little bit of time. We do have a post-game interview. It sounds like it's going to be with Final. Final, how you doing?
We won that game, boys!
Certainly sounds like the hype coming through on all ends. It was a pretty good game. It seemed like you guys kind of went the distance on a couple maps at least.
Yeah, we made a couple mistakes, but then we figured out what we tried to do. The enemy team tried to big brain us with some of the bans, and it kind of threw us off because we were used to like the both teams protect and both teams ban. So it was a different dynamic that we had to figure out really quickly.
Well, it certainly didn't seem like it hindered you guys too much. I want to ask one question when it came to the Junkertown map. You guys were initially going to ban Bastion. Was that a little bit of a mind game, or did you guys just genuinely not want to see Bastion in the...
We weren't super worried about Bastion, but we felt like that was the only thing that our bunker comp was losing to. So we thought, we're super strong in this, and if this is the only thing that we're weak at, we can go ahead and ban it.
Okay, certainly makes sense. I like seeing the gameplay come through. It's a little bit of a shame that that little miscommunication going through, but such things happen when it comes to NA production. Am I right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, Steidl, did you have any questions moving forward?
I did. I just wanted to ask from your point of view, with the progression of the maps, because it seemed that as the 5 maps went on, that Magna kind of, you guys started gaining momentum, and then as that momentum grew, it never really stopped. And so, from your side, I wanted to ask, like, what was different about the way that you saw Pando and Pyro approach the match?
It took us a little while to get back into the groove of things. Things that we were struggling on, we had to figure out really quickly. We noticed that the enemy Reinhardt was pretty aggressive, and we just needed to slow down the pace of the game and abuse that aggression that was being pushed onto us, to where previously we were losing fights in the Goats v Goats mirror because we would see that they would use bubbles or charge in really aggressively, but we would be super low, so we weren't able to punish that, and we ended up losing ourselves because since they already had the aggression and then were into us and we were already low, it was just easy pickings for us. So we just needed to slow down the pace of the game, make sure that we were healed, and generally always have our abilities up to get more value in the end.
Yeah, very nice. Definitely smart thinking. I wish some of the players in my solo queue games would do that.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, it looks like our time here is about up. We have another game to get to here in just a few moments, so stick around with us, folks. Definitely don't be too shy to leave. But Final, want to thank you for stopping by and just answering a quick few questions with us, my friend.
Thank you for hosting and casting.
Absolutely. You have a good night out there.
You too. Bye.
And for those of you at home just wrapping up the MVP vote, our results are in and we have our winner. MVP for tonight actually going to be coming in Pone coming in from, I believe it was Serendipity. That
Not
main
my girl
type,
Allie?
that main tank player. It looks like the viewers had a little bit different of an opinion than you and I, Steidl, but that's how it goes sometimes. The cards
dare
don't
you.
always shake out in our favor. So congratulations, Pone, for the MVP award for the night. Congratulations, Serendipity and Magna, for putting on a great show. Magna, of course, walking away with the 3-1. And that is going to wrap it up for this broadcast here at the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. Join us back in 10 minutes. I'm sure we'll have another game ready to rip and tear into. But for your casting entertainment, I've been Sir Waltham. You can catch me on Twitter, Sir Waltham Gaming, and Twitch, Sir Waltham.
And I have been Steidl24. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, the whole thing under that name, Steidl24, SCHTITLE 24.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great night and stay safe out there.